guys, it's Melanie. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to share with you my top 5 favorite powder foundations. I am an incredibly oily skin girl, and for a very long time now I have been using powder foundation instead of liquid foundation because I find that the vast majority of liquid foundations just tend to slide off my face after about 3 to 4 hours. I originally started using powder foundation back in the day when I was watching a presentation on QVC about Bare Minerals, and I think a lot of us, the first powder foundation that we kind of think of is Bare Minerals. And so I placed an order. This was many years ago, and it honestly changed my life to begin using a powder foundation product. It works so much better with my oily skin type. Now, I am someone who does use a tinted moisturizer primer SPF type product prior to putting my powder foundation on, and I do think that that helps with a little bit of additional coverage and just helping to adhere the product to my skin. Now, what I prefer to use and what you hear me talking about the most on my channel is the Paula's Choice Resist Super Light Daily Wrinkle Defense. This is a moisturizer with an SPF, and it does have a tint. But the tint is very light, and it really doesn't provide much in the way of coverage, but it is there, and it does cover just a tiny little bit. But I always put that on prior to putting on my powder foundation, and I find that that wears the best for me in terms of primers. So I'm going to share with you my top 5, and these are not necessarily in particular order, but I will start with an all-time favorite that I think is one of the best powder foundations out there for the money, and it is the Everyday Minerals base. Everyday Minerals, I believe, only sells their products online. I think they're based out of Austin, Texas, and I really love their semi-matte formula. Despite having really oily skin, I don't like a super crazy matte powder foundation. You have to be careful with powder foundations because they can look dry on your skin if you don't blend them in properly. You do have to take some time to buff the product into your skin so that it sort of melts in, if you will. But I find that the Everyday Minerals in the semi-matte formula is just matte enough, but it doesn't make your skin look flat or just dry or cakey in any kind of way. I love this foundation. It is honestly one of the most affordable ones. The packaging is great. There is a sifter that you can close when you're traveling. I didn't have mine closed, and that's why there's a little bit of product floating around in here, but I honestly love it. I will show you the brushes that I prefer to apply my powder foundation with at the end of this video. But this is definitely a #1 favorite, and the one that I would recommend everybody to check out because they just have really beautiful formulations, and the color range is huge. You can choose from a matte formula, a semi-matte, and then also like a more moisturizing and even more luminous formula of powder foundation. The rest of these, no particular order. Laura Geller has been a longtime favorite of mine as well. This is her Balance and Brighten. I always use the color Fair. And this is a really beautiful powder foundation because there are lots of different swirls of colors in here, and so it tends to adjust beautifully to both warm and cool toned skin tones. Warm and cool skin tones, if you will. This is a beautiful coverage. You can build it up. You can use it as a setting powder. You can use it as your primary foundation. It just is so gorgeous. I love the Laura Geller products. This is a domed product, by the way. You can kind of see that there. I have gone through many of these and always continue to repurchase it because it just works so well for me. And I love this because I can use it all the way up underneath my eyes. It never looks cakey. It never looks flat. Just has a beautiful finish to it, and it wears so long on me. I also have been loving, this is my newest, this is the Tarte Confidence Creamy Powder Foundation. I am in the color Fair Light Neutral, and this is what that looks like. And this is a beautiful creamy powder foundation that glides on the skin, wears beautifully throughout the day. It doesn't really look cakey or heavy on the skin again. You kind of hear me saying that over and over again because that is something that I definitely have an aversion to with powder foundations. I don't want to look like my skin is like crepey or dry in any kind of way. And this one is a really beautiful formula. It glides on. None of these have ever made me break out. I'm definitely sensitive to that. So, you know, this formulation has worked really well for me with my really oily skin type, despite this being a very creamy powder. I also really enjoy the It Cosmetics Celebration Foundation. I use the color Light Medium in this. That's this color right here. This light medium works a little bit better for me in the summer months. It's a little bit too dark when I'm at my fairest, which is in the fall and the winter. But this is a beautiful formulation. Again, it's one of those ones where if you apply it with the sponge that they provide, you can get a heavier coverage. The Tarte also comes with a sponge that you could use to get a heavier coverage. You can use these wet if you needed to just wet the sponge. You would get definitely a more opaque coverage if that's what you're looking for. But this one is really, really nice. It's available at Ulta, so it's easy to go and sort of play with the colors and figure out what your best color is for you. But it's beautiful, lasts a decent amount of time on my skin, and just looks great. Again, not flat, not like drying looking at all. And the last I'm going to mention is the one that I started out with. It's the Bare Minerals. And this is their original foundation. They do have a matte formula. I have tried that, but I have to say that I think I prefer their original formulation because there is that little bit of luminosity to it. The matte definitely looks very matte. Might be a good thing to get during the summer, but really truly, like even during the summer months, despite my oil production ramping up just a little bit, I do still prefer a slightly, I don't even want to say dewy because I don't like a dewy look, but it just looks softer on your skin. Now, for a while there, I was not able to use the Bare Minerals, and they must have reformulated it because I really started breaking out from, I believe it was the bismuth oxide. There was something that they had in here that they seemed to change. And when I purchased this, was it last holiday season or the holiday season before? I tried it again. I sort of took a chance because I'd heard some people say that they had reformulated it. And yes, absolutely. This no longer makes me break out, and just is a beautiful, soft coverage that provides a little bit of luminosity. The color that I have in here is just light. So that's the one that works best for me. But really, really enjoy this. This was, by the way, a limited edition packaging. It normally doesn't come in a size quite this big. But those are my top 5 powder foundations. I love them all. These are all going to be repurchases for me. Again, you don't really see a lot of liquid foundation routines on my video because it just doesn't work for me. And I find that powder just wears so much better and longer with my specific skin type, which again is pretty oily. In terms of brushes that I like to apply my powder foundation, there are 3 that I'm going to mention. The first is from Coastal Scents. I want to say this is like a $10 brush. I don't even know if they still sell it because this one is about, I think 5 years old at this point, but it's a flat top kabuki. It's beautiful. It's not overly dense. It's got some give, but it just beautifully works the product into your skin. It's wonderful. I'll try to link this down below. The second is the Heavenly Luxe Complexion Perfection Brush from It Cosmetics. This one is beautiful. Not only with the It Cosmetics, but really any of these powder foundations, again, like beautiful soft bristles to buff the product into your skin. It's got a nice amount of give. It's dense, but not too dense. Just beautiful for applying powder foundation. And then the last is actually the Real Techniques buffing brush. I don't know if you can get this individually. I believe I got mine in like a kit that came with a couple of other brushes, but this one is lovely, and it's probably price-wise on par with the Coastal Scents one, but you can get this at like Fred Meyer, Ulta, anywhere that you can find the Real Techniques brushes. But again, it's got a nice density, but not overly dense, and just works the product into your skin and just makes it look lovely. In terms of like the application, I typically will do like the swirling, you know, and just really work it into the skin. I would say it takes me the same amount of time as, you know, someone who's using a liquid foundation to get the product onto my skin. And, you know, the wear for me is just much better. So perfect brushes. The It Cosmetics is going to be the most expensive, but it's also really well made, and I really enjoy the brush. So that's it. If you guys have any questions, definitely leave them down below. If you are a powder foundation user yourself, please let me know what your favorites are, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thanks so much for watching, and take care. Bye-bye.